So here's how the link and lock add subtract game works. It's a bonus game, so you click on the bonus icon in the hub. You go into, actually it's a bonus one, so let me change focus. You'll go into early and then go into the bonus games, and it's in the bonus one, and you'll see the link and lock add subtract right here. So click on that. We'll bring up round one. Now it starts with 6 triads on the outside. Triads are 3 circles. All the triads have 2 numbers in a circle and a blank circle except for one. The one triad that has 3 numbers in all circles is called the seed triad. And I suggest you draw that out into the center of the screen. The object is to link all these triads together. And the way you link a triad is you look at the 2 numbers that are on a triad. Let's say we look at this one. There's a 4 and the 5. So because this is the add subtract version, you say, well, what happens if I add 4 and 5? I would get 9. What happens if I subtract 4 from 5? I get 1. So this blank circle can link to either a 9 or a 1. And when I look at the seed triad, there is a 1 there, so I can draw this over, overlay that blank circle on top of the 1. Once that's done, it locks and you can start moving the entire group. Now what you want to do is link all these triads together. So let's try that. As an example, if I subtract 5 from 10, I'm going to get 5, so I can link it to this 5. And then if I add the 5 to the 2, I'm going to get a 7. I can link it to this 7 here. And now I'm going to have a problem. No, not necessarily. The 6 and 1, I can either get a 7 if I add or get a 5 if I subtract. So I don't really need this 7. I can just come over here and link it to the 5. And lastly, this one could be 3 plus 1 gives me 4. I link it to the 4 and they're all linked together. So there are 2 plays per game. If I do one more play, get that progress meter to the end, I will have earned stickers for the game, and then you move to the next game. As you advance, we're going to introduce more and more triads you have to link. By the time you get to round 4, there are actually 12 triads that you have to link all together. And this brings in additional layers of thinking beyond just addition, subtraction facts. So there are 2 constraints in this game. And by the way, problems are defined by constraints. If there were no constraints, there would be no problem because you can do anything you wanted. This particular game has 2 constraints. One is I can only link to numbers that have not been used. So as an example, I link this triad here. 5 subtracted from 6 gives me 1. That's done. This 1 now is no longer available to be linked anymore because I've already used it. What's available to me are the ending numbers. Those are 7, 8, 6, and 5. So that's the first constraint. The second constraint is you cannot link to a triad if it's overlapping another triad. As an example, let me say I have a sitting triad here, and I look at these 2 3s, and I want to link the 2 3s to the 6. When I bring it over to try to link to the 6, it won't link. It won't link because it's overlapping this existing triad. Now I can move the triad out of the way, and then that would link, so it's no problem. This constraint will require you to think about how you link triads. So as an example, let's say I want to link this 1 and 3. I need a 4. I don't have a 4 here. Let me do this one. So I can link the 4 and 7 to a 3, because if I subtract 4 from 7, I get 3. So I can link it like this. Now, if I link it like this, what's going to happen is this 3 is no longer going to be available to me anymore because there's no way that I can link to that number. Let's assume I wanted to link this 1 and 2 to that 3. I can't link to the 3 without overlapping another triad. So that requires me to look ahead and say, do I need a 3? I do need a 3 in this case. So instead of linking it this way, and if you want to redo a step, just click on a triad, it'll reset, and I can link it in this manner. If I link it this way, that 3 is still available to me. I can now come in and link the 1 and 2 to that 3. So as you have more triads to link, the interesting thing is that there are more layers of thinking you got to keep in mind. You got to start looking ahead. Sometimes you got to look at the sequence of how you link so that you preserve all the numbers you need. I find the link and lock games really interesting because every time you play it's different, and there are multiple layers beyond just the addition, subtraction skills or the multiplication and division skills. So I hope you give it a try. You can also earn a lot of stickers in these games.